A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Everything you need to know about Dunk and Egg. Good day, Westeros Throne viewers. Strap in, because we are diving deep into the wild, surprising, and occasionally chaotic world of Dunk and Egg, the legendary duo making their way to HBO in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. If you thought the Targaryens had enough family drama to fill every kingdom from Dorne to the Wall, just wait until you get a taste of this adventure. These two redefine unlikely partnership, and the story surrounding them is about to explode into the mainstream harder than a wildfire stash left under the September. Before we crack this open like a dragon egg that is definitely not hatching fast enough, make sure you subscribe to Westeros Throne and hit that notifications bell. We are dropping deep dives, breakdowns, lore analysis, and all the spicy details you did not even know you needed. Now, let us begin this journey. Imagine Westeros roughly a century before Daenerys tried to free cities by fire and slightly overcook anyone who disagreed with her. This is a time when dragons are gone, kings are still making questionable decisions, and the Targaryen dynasty is wobbling like a chair with one leg shorter than the others, but still holding on. Now enter Ser Duncan the Tall, better known as Dunk. He is not some noble knight with a family crest, a fancy castle, or a lifetime of being told he is special. No, Dunk begins his story as a flea-bottom nobody who just wanted to avoid starving. Inspirational? Absolutely. Glamorous? Not even slightly. Just when you think you know where this story is headed, in walks the biggest surprise in the entire pre-Game of Thrones era, a tiny, bald kid named Egg. Dunk quite literally stumbles into him, and soon discovers that this seemingly ordinary boy with the attitude of someone twice his size and the stubbornness of a whole council meeting is actually Aegon Targaryen, future king, future grandparent of other kings, and future headache to the entire realm. This dynamic, the grounded knight with a heart too big for his armor and the secret prince who is 10 times bolder than his tiny frame, creates a partnership that is equal parts wholesome, hilarious, and deeply meaningful. HBO adapting this story now is practically a blessing, because it is the perfect tonal palette cleanser after the dragon warfare and political carnage of House of the Dragon. Now, let us transition into what makes Dunk such a fascinating character. He is simple, but not foolish, brave, but not arrogant, loyal, but not blind. In a world full of schemers, liars, and people who cannot go one day without plotting someone's downfall, Dunk is refreshingly straightforward. The man wants to do what is right, even when what is right gets him beaten up, insulted, or dragged into Targaryen disputes that absolutely do not concern him. Egg, however, is the opposite kind of chaotic energy. Imagine a kid who knows he is a Targaryen, but is determined to hide it by wearing the most suspicious, head-covering hat in Westeros. Egg has a razor-sharp tongue, a curious mind, and the kind of boldness that makes you wonder if he fully understands how dangerous the world around him actually is. Spoiler, he does not. But that is what makes the duo compelling. Dunk keeps Egg grounded. Egg pushes Dunk to be brave. Let's talk about the timeline. The events of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms take place during the reign of King Daeron II, long before Robert's rebellion, the Mad King, or Bran deciding he wanted the world's least comfortable throne. This era is peaceful on the surface, but bubbling beneath it are political tensions, succession disputes, and the kind of Targaryen infighting that would make even Otto Hightower say, "You know what? I'm sitting this one out." The stories we expect HBO to adapt follow the 3 major novellas George R.R. Martin wrote: The Hedge Knight, The Sworn Sword, and The Mystery Knight. Each one digs deeper into the relationship between Dunk and Egg, the state of Westeros, and the early rumblings of civil unrest that will eventually lead to catastrophes like the Blackfire rebellions. Slide into the next hook, because if you think this is just a light-hearted buddy adventure, think again. These novellas expand the world building in ways Game of Thrones barely touched. We get a closer look at the everyday people of Westeros, hedge knights with questionable reputations, squires who dream big but understand very little, lords who play politics like they were born with daggers in their hands, and Targaryens who keep proving that the family motto should really be "We do not make good decisions." What makes this adaptation especially exciting right now is how it connects to the larger franchise. With House of the Dragon dominating the conversation and fans more invested in the Targaryen family tree than their own ancestry tests, Dunk and Egg arrive at the perfect moment. Their story ties directly into key events that shaped the later kings of the realm. And yes, Egg will eventually become Aegon V, the same king connected to the tragedy at Summerhall, which haunts the Targaryen line for generations. The trailer and early behind-the-scenes glimpses suggest HBO intends to lean heavily into the emotional core of Dunk and Egg's relationship. Dunk brings honor to the idea of knighthood in a way most knights do not. He is messy, inexperienced, and constantly doubting himself, but he tries. Egg, meanwhile, represents the hope of what a Targaryen ruler could be before politics, prophecy, and pressure slowly warp the dynasty. Expect sharp dialogue, moments of real camaraderie, and scenes that blend humor with heartfelt sincerity. Egg questioning why the world works the way it does. Dunk trying to explain morality while also learning it himself. Those interactions are the beating heart of the entire narrative. Let's talk stakes, because even though there are no dragons in this era, the drama is just as sharp. These stories revolve around tournaments, feuds between noble houses, betrayals, accusations of treason, and occasional sword fights that do not end cleanly. Dunk routinely finds himself in situations way above his rank, battling lords 20 times richer and 5 times more politically connected than him. And yet he prevails, not because of plot armor, but because of who he is, stubborn, honest, and harder to knock down than a castle gate. Egg, on the other hand, faces a different kind of struggle. He has to hide his identity while also learning what the real world looks like, beyond palace walls and dragon skulls. Watching him grow from a prickly, sarcastic kid into a compassionate future ruler adds emotional weight to the journey. The representation of knighthood. Dunk's story pulls back the curtain on what it really means to be a knight. Not the glamour, not the feasts, not the banners. The hard truths, the sacrifices, the wandering, the heartbreak. Dunk embodies the idea of nobility better than most nobles ever have. And that contrast is one of the reasons fans already love him. Egg helps us explore the world through a different perspective. The perspective of a future king walking among common people. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is more than a prequel. It is a story about friendship, growth, and the complicated lineage of the family that reshaped Westeros. It is funny, it is emotional, it is meaningful, and it will help fans understand how the seeds of future disasters were planted by ordinary choices made long before Daenerys ever dreamed of the Iron Throne. Thank you for watching Westeros Throne.